Hi, good afternoon. Kirk McDowell here with the Book Writers Club. And I want to talk to you about acknowledgement, the power of acknowledgement. It's not just this sort of warm idea, it's not a fluffy thing, it's not woo woo. I want to make a real case for being a master of acknowledgement. I'm also writing a book on coaching, and this will be a big part of it. This, for me, is one of the pillars of coaching that I use to great effect and have for many years. So just very briefly, the Book Writers Club is a service for thought leaders and coaches and consultants, people who are in a sort of contributory space and are looking to either get their legacy documented, or to have a really fun way to market and explode your business with public speaking engagements and credibility and all sorts of marketing opportunities through writing books. And books in this case would be pretty short, really high value proposition, and we've got a lot of really conscious and effective support to have it be fun and easy and get your story told, build your community, transform your world, and that world could definitely include your business, your own personal experience of your business, and your ability to make a difference in the world, right? So that's the Book Writers Club. So if you'd like to find out more about that, I'd love to tell you more about that. And I'll even offer you a 30-minute call where we get to work on an outline, so really get started. Okay, so that's the Book Writers Club. Let's talk about acknowledgement. Acknowledgement. Okay, so first of all, I'm not talking about like a compliment. A lot of people confuse acknowledgement and compliment, right? So I'm not talking about going up to somebody and say, hey, I love your tie. Feel free to do that. There's no problem with that, but that's not what I'm talking about, right? Or, hey, you look great in that suit. That's not what I'm talking about. Fine, no problem, right? But in this conversation, acknowledgement is something else. So acknowledgement is let's see, hold on. I should have probably prepared a very slick thing here, but this is probably better. So acknowledgement is when you notice and communicate that you notice something extraordinary about someone. So you notice someone is being generous when they didn't have to, right? And then, so that might be something to acknowledge in this sort of distinction acknowledgement, right? So this is not a definition or description of acknowledgement. I'm literally distinguishing acknowledgement real time inside of a context I've been using for many years to great effect, right? So acknowledgement, right? So you notice something about someone which you would like to bring life to, all right? So what does that mean? So, well, if you're a coach, and this is inside of a coaching book, so let's go there. So let's say you notice someone taking responsibility for something in a really beautiful way, in a way that they're empowered and they really get that everything in their life is theirs and they have to say about their experience and their abilities and who they are. So let's say you're in a coaching conversation and your client kind of rolls up on, wow, I get to, like that, right? And so could be a beautiful forward movement in your coaching, right, with your client, right? And if that's so, then acknowledging it, right, would be getting up underneath it, enlivening that thing which you saw, right, so that it grows and gets stronger. Okay? At a personal level, your loved one is gentle and gracious with you at a time when he or she really had an excellent reason to be less graceful and gentle with you, right? And then, they chose graceful and gentle, and you noticed it, like, oh, wow, I noticed that, right? That would be a great thing to acknowledge, right? Because it gives them a wonderful feeling of being known and appreciated and noticed, right? That's not the point, but it's wonderful, right? But the point is in the being known and noticed a particular way, like being generous, what's right there for human beings is to be more generous, right? So let's get really down and dirty and pragmatic. Let's say your spouse finally washes the dishes after 3 months, right? What you don't do is go and complain about the last 3 months. What you do is make a big deal about tonight, the one time, right? Acknowledge what works, right? And then you bring life to it. And I guarantee you what's immediately there for people is oh, well, I could do that again. And then the next night you get the dishes washed, like make a big deal out of it, and the next time, right? So acknowledgement really works in coaching. It really works in business and personal relationships. It's really whenever you notice that there's something about someone, something was courageous, somebody was courageous, somebody was generous, somebody was thoughtful, somebody was, elevated or transformed about something, like really took the high road, or, just whatever. And if you like that, and by liking it, I'm not really talking about a personal evaluation necessarily, like, oh, I personally like that. But if you know that that's who that person wants to be, and you know that it's just beautiful, like when somebody's loving, we don't really need to analyze that and make sure that's what we want to do, right? When somebody's loving, gracious, generous, patient, we don't really need to analyze that too much for this conversation. We're just going to call all that good, right? And so when somebody's, fulfilling a commitment of their own and winning, and there's some way of being or some action or some courageous event that happens, acknowledge that. It's really a gift. It takes nothing to acknowledge somebody, like literally a minute, literally a minute, right? And then you bring life to something that really worked because you chose to acknowledge something that really worked, like something that was amazing, right? And they have a wonderful experience of being known and appreciated, right, in the acknowledgement. And by the way, you have a wonderful experience of being someone who gives other people really beautiful and warm experiences. Do you get that? Somebody does something, I take a moment, create something to acknowledge them for, like, hey, that was really beautiful. Hey, you said that to that person. I really got how it could have gone a different way, and I want you to know I noticed that was really beautiful, and I just want you to know that, right? And then I see that person light up. It's wonderful for me, right? It's not a manipulation. It's just like a gift of love. It's a gift of good energy. It's just beautiful, right? And then what's almost invariably going to happen over there is that which gets acknowledged, like, grows, right? Now, red flag warning, never to be misused, is the reverse is true, right? So if you constantly are criticizing someone, right, you will bring truth and gravity to it, right? People will start to become the way they're listened to, right? So this is the dark side of it, right? You maybe, I had a relationship at some point in the past where this person thought I was clumsy, right? And it was very surprising to me because I've always been kind of an athlete. I'm a professional drummer, and other stuff, and really dexterity and skill and quickness has always been kind of my thing, so like clumsy didn't really compute, right? But she was, whatever, she was convinced, and she would comment on it regularly. And lo and behold, I noticed the incidences of me doing clumsy things in her presence, like, exponentially increased. It was just crazy. It was just crazy, right? And I've been around other people who just think I'm brilliant and this and that and other. And what I notice is I start to kind of become that, right? So you could debate whether or not that's a good idea or whatever. Human beings kind of start to gravitate to how they're listened to. But that's not the purpose of this, right? We're not trying to change anything here. We're just observing kind of how things work and working with it, right? So if you're working with, people start to become how they're listened to. And if you're a professional coach, remember this is in a coaching context, but it could be, business leader, it could be sales manager, it could be husband, wife, everything, right? If you are someone who takes the time and trouble to really be responsible for how and what you hear, like, it just makes all the difference. Coming at people with generosity, listening for the best, just makes such a huge difference. So I wanted to talk about the power of acknowledgement, because acknowledgement is such a beautiful way to be loving and such a beautiful way to be kind. It's a gift that takes nothing to give. And I bet you can remember times in your life where someone acknowledged you and you still remember it. Like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. I'm 55, I remember a teacher saying something to me that meant the world to me. I remember later on in my career, a sales manager said something to me that literally altered who I was. So just in a minute, you can literally alter someone's life, and you get the goodies of being that kind of person in the world. I super recommend it. I think it's awesome. All right, so that's the power of acknowledgement. Really useful in a professional setting, like if you're a coach, and you're looking to bring life to that which is already working with your client, acknowledgement is the way to go. Trust me. In a personal relationship, when something happens that you love, especially generated by the other person, you want to acknowledge it, man. Like, have them be really glad that they did something wonderful, and then it's just natural, right? And then the reverse side is, when somebody acknowledges you, say thank you. Like, just get it. Don't deflect. Just get it. Another thing about acknowledgement is it's a gift, which it feels weird when that gift is thrown back in your face. So if I say, hey, that was a really great job, and you go, nah, that was no big deal, you've literally taken my gift, I've handed it over to you, you've taken it and thrown it right back in my face. People don't think of it that way, and I know, like that, right? But when someone acknowledges you, stop, get the acknowledgement, allow them to get up underneath something that really works about you. And by the way, you could get up underneath something that really works about you too, right? And that would be getting in with the dynamic of acknowledgement, right? Someone acknowledges you for something that you're proud of, go with it. Yeah, that'd be great, thank you, that's who I am. Yeah, I'm gonna stick at it, right? Go with it, right? So, professionally, like if you're a business owner, oh my gosh, right? If you're a business owner or a sales manager or a manager or a leader of any kind, you've got people who are fulfilling some commitment. There's some shared commitment, right? And people are often doing what they're supposed to be doing and often not doing what they're supposed to be doing. There's like a mix, right? If you're really lucky, maybe you're getting 80, 90% in the plus column. I doubt it, but awesome, right? But when you start to acknowledge that which works every time you catch somebody doing something right, you acknowledge them like thoughtfully and deeply and authentically. Okay, so let me get to that, like authentically, right? So anyway, if you're a leader and you have a team, you can speculate, you can start to consider the cumulative effect of acknowledging that which is working with every person every time you get a shot. And if you're leading a team of leaders, you want to get them out there acknowledging that which is working, catching people doing something right, exponentially more effective than catching people doing something wrong. Tons of studies, tons of books. I'm not going to debate that with you. That's settled science as far as I'm concerned. So acknowledgement is super powerful. Let's get to the authentic part. Alarm, red flag, be sure you catch this part, right? If you're a human being, which I'm assuming you are, right, you're going to have a tendency to want to use this as a tool to produce results and get outcomes that you want, right? Somebody's gonna say or do something, and you're gonna think to yourself, if they would keep saying or doing that, that's gonna work out good for me somehow. And then you use an acknowledgement to literally manipulate someone to be or say be some certain way or say some certain thing that will not work, does not work, and is literally playing for the dark side, right? So first of all, don't ever let me catch you. That's number one. And number two, it just doesn't work, right? That's what everybody's doing all the time, just not so skillfully. But acknowledgement works because one human being is literally being present with another human being and observing something beautiful about that human being and then articulating that which they see, right? So it's a really beautiful, pristine, honorable space, and it's that beautiful space which causes all the goodies, right? Feel good on both sides. The phenomena has growth to it, and that which was beautiful, has some life and legs to it and starts to breathe and come to life. The person that's being acknowledged would love to have more of that and do more of that, and so you really get up underneath something, right? None of that works if it's a manipulative move. It's just something about the energy of it. People notice it doesn't work, it doesn't work, it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and then again, don't let me catch it. So this is a beautiful thing. You want to use acknowledgement to move towards the light, to have people win, to, whatever, however you talk about your coaching business, however you talk about the way you contribute to the world, right? That's the purpose of acknowledgement, okay? Have people win in what they're up to, right? Have people fulfill their commitments. All right, beautiful. So that's acknowledgement. Thanks so much. If you have a book in you, you're ready to lay down a legacy, you want to blow up your coaching or consulting business, I would love to talk to you. I promise. Lots of fun, lots of value. I'm known for it. Read my testimonials. And then I'd love to talk to you. Let's work on your outline, or let's get some questions answered. Whatever the roadblock is, whatever the blind spot is, I guarantee you I'm deadly accurate at identifying those and removing them. So, and it's just fun for me. So let's talk. There's a link in the description, kirkmcdowell.com. You can click on there and just put yourself right on my calendar. No fuss, no muss. All right, great. So thanks, Kirk McDowell, the Book Writers Club. I hope I get a chance to talk to you. All right, thanks.